Okay. We'll go ahead and get started now. Welcome everyone to this month's Bullying Prevention and Red Ribbon Week. We're excited for everybody who's able to come out tonight or this afternoon, I should say. You see where my mind is. Wellness for us. We're focused on the opportunity and resources and understanding systems and our supports. And we thank you for directly supporting Team TOSA, the students, family, staff, and other stakeholders. And if you have not checked in with us, please sign in with the link below. We want to know who's visiting us today. Team TOSA mental health team. Of course, we have Christy Spears, who is our manager of the mental health services, and Heather Opp, the mental health specialist. And then you have the team of the Counselor Core facilitators, which is Kimberly Cardwell, myself, Kendria Green, Esperanza Darling, Yervang, and Kenitra Williams. We had the Bridges for Us, a subset of wellness for us, and assist in our linkage, advocacy, and referrals to mental health related and school supports. Now we're going to have several different supports and resources for you. And you can connect to a lot of the links that you see on the screen. Also, this session is being recorded. And if you miss any of it, you'll have the opportunity to see it again in YouTube. We have a YouTube set up that will record this and you can watch it again. Of course, we have our wellness library for all kinds of different resources that you may need to help you in whatever work you endeavor to do. And this is all of our supporting wellness supports and all of the team that if you need anything, these are all the social services supports by site. And any of these individuals, if you need anything from them, here is their information. And today's lineup, of course, we're gonna have our welcoming retreat, and then we're gonna go into bullying prevention, and we're gonna have our guest speaker to talk to you about all of that. And I would just mention some of the other resources that we have, and then we will do our optimistic closure. So please take breaks as you need them, as they arise. You always can flip on your screensaver and go take a break. Now, if you have any types of technology issues, we will have a number up there for you to call to take care of that. Anything that has to do with your connectivity and things like that. And there's an optional extended Q&A that will be held immediately following the session. So give yourself permission to laugh out loud, to make mistakes and express your authentic feelings. You will hear me laugh out loud all the time. Now mute your speakers unless you are speaking or in a breakout room. And when you are speaking, please share the name of the agency you represent and your role when you're speaking. Activate your video if possible. We'd love to see your face. If not, I'd love to see your whatever character you have up there to represent you. If you're on the phone, you can just *6 to mute and to unmute. We will have some breakout sessions, and when that icon appear on your screen, you can go into those breakout rooms and discuss whatever it is that we are leading you to discuss at the time. I time limit We do have a time limit because of our presentation. And so we will have our main speaker to come up, and the main speaker will have time to do all the information the wonderful information that he's bringing to us today. And for the technical difficulties, the number that you should call is the IT department is 918-746-6800. And please log into your Zoom on one device. So if you're on the phone, be on the phone, or if you're on the computer, be on the computer, but not both. And you can minimize the Zoom window and open session slides if you choose. If you choose to open up another window, you can. Now for SEL, we had that for all Team TOSA stakeholders. We had a SEL practice playbook, also CASEL best practices. And so if any of that information you are welcome to, we have all that information for you. Also, our work is about preserving what it is to be human and experiencing emotions and being present. And so we have our mood meter today. Where are you at on this mood meter? How are you feeling? If you anywhere in the low-lying areas, we hope that this presentation will cause you to rise up. Now for our welcoming ritual, and this will be our first breakout session. And what I am going to do, because I know that for our calming rituals, we're going to talk about calming rituals. And we all are people who are in the employment of causing things to de-escalate. And so sometimes we need to calm down ourselves and get in a place where we can just relax and just be. So I have a bunch of calming rituals, not the ones that we're used to, such as the breathing techniques and things like that, but some different ones. Some of these may be your cup of tea, some of them probably are not. Well, when we break out, I want you to find one of these. I think I got about 25 of them. I want you to find one or two that you particularly think that would be a good way for you to calm down. We have make a bunch of iced tea with fresh mint leaves. Trust me, fresh mint is worth the splurge. Floss is like a massage to your gums. Organize your bookshelves by color. Cut up a t-shirt, create your own design. Give yourself an at-home facial. Watch a comedy special. Laughter is good like a medicine. Try exercising for at least 10 minutes for 3 days. Find a farmer's market and get your produce for the week there. Eat a piece of fresh fruit every day for a week. Get rid of all the random stuff in your wallet, your purse, and on your key ring. That can really accumulate. Sort through the entire contents of your closet and donate. Very good. If you go through the closet and you see that outfit that you've been holding for a few years because you know you're going to get back down to that size, don't worry about it. Give it away. Because even if you get down to that size, you probably don't even want to wear that anymore. Okay. Visit an animal shelter. Spend the day among the pups. Try not to adopt them all. Make an old pair of jeans into a new distressed pair of jeans. You know, just get your kitchen scissors or a knife or Google to give you some ideas. Take inventory of the entire contents of your fridge and write down things you can make from your random assortment of foods that you have in there, and look up some recipes and make yourself a meal plan using what you already have. Now, if you like some and only have a box of soda and water in the fridge, you might have to go shopping. Find yourself a go-to affirmation and repeat it to yourself 15 times whenever you commute. So find that thing that you said you can't do or try your hardest but can never accomplish it, hey, make your positive affirmation and say it. Find new music instead of listening to the same playlist you've had on repeat. Get you a bunch of new playlists. Take a boxing class. Getting aggravation out in a productive way. What a novel idea. If you don't want to take a boxing class, maybe you can make something at home. Maybe you can make you a little pillow bag and just go ahead and punch it all day long until all of that aggression is out. Stop asking yourself for permission to do something frivolous. Let's do it. Don't worry about the time it takes, just do it. Make a fire and grill on top of it outside. If you're inside, okay, just get you an electric grill or something. Have you ever thought about making a s'more on an electric grill inside? Hey, try it. Watch a YouTube tutorial about learning an instrument that you abandoned once upon a time. Once upon a time, I wanted to take piano lessons. I never did. I had my son to take them. He didn't want to. So that's something I may think about doing now. Buy a beautiful potted plant or flower for your apartment or even for your office. Do 3 stretches every morning, the same 3 stretches. And you can pick a yoga pose, or you can try some other type of stretch that you might want to do. Once a day, make a concerted effort to smile. If you don't do anything else on this list, if you don't find anything else to calm you down, a smile will do that. And it doesn't matter whether you're a smiley person or not. Just take the time to make those corners of your mouth go up. Okay. Write your friend across the country. Wow, or even across the world. Don't even tell them that you write them. Just buy some stationery, put that stamp on it, and send it overseas. I don't even know how much it costs to send a stamp overseas. Redecorate a wall in your apartment. Now, was there any one thing that anybody want to share that they heard in their breakout room that was particularly interesting to them? Okay, I see everybody popping back in. Now, was there any one thing that anybody want to share that they heard in their breakout room? That was particularly interesting to them?
There was a lot of retail therapy talked about in our group.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one. Okay. All righty, let me put my screen back up. All right. Okay, now is that time that I am going to get out of the way and allow you to hear our wonderful presenter on today. And that's Kurt Bennett. He's the Parent-Child Center of Tulsa KOB Program Coordinator. And Kurt has a long time partnership with Tulsa Public Schools. He has faithfully served the Tulsa Public Schools, students, staff, and other stakeholders in many ways. And Kurt currently leads the valuable work at ABC, the Anti-Bullying Coalition. He frequents sites in Tulsa Public Schools to facilitate kids on the block presentations and provides direct support to school staff in implementing Teach Kindness and connecting stakeholders to other Parent-Child Center of Tulsa programs. Kurt hosts many community convenings at PCCT and never fails to find new ways to support and encourage the stakeholders of Tulsa Public Schools. So please help me welcome Kurt Bennett. Kurt is in your hands.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rosemary. You are a delight. I couldn't think of another person to start this off with. Your smile and your laugh is contagious, and I love that. It's fantastic. So thank you so much. And also a bit of forewarning as well. Some of these slides are really click heavy, so I apologize in advance. You had to click several times to get through the slides on some of these. But yes, thank you so much for allowing me to be here, and thank you so much for your attention and this opportunity. So Teach Kindness is a fantastic program that I help facilitate. And the whole goal of Teach Kindness is really to foster kindness as a skill and as a cultural kind of norm. And Teach Kindness gives you lessons and opportunities to do that in a way that's easy and not too time consuming and not overwhelming. So go ahead and go and click forward for me, Rosemary. Thank you so much. And so we're going to talk a little about what's going on with some of our kids, right? So go ahead and give a couple clicks there, Rosemary, and see. I think there's 3 of them here. I got there's 1, 2, and 3. I think there's 1 more. So we're probably very much aware of some of the things that are going on. We see headlines of people being victimized at school, whether it's just misbehavior such as bullying or things such as assault, like stabbing, right? And some of the worst crimes, some of the worst actions taken are taken by people who feel like they were a victim of their circumstances. And so one way to fight that is with kindness. And if you want to go ahead and advance the next slide, Rosemary, thank you so much. We'll have a look at kind of the prevalence of it. Some of this is a little outdated, but a lot of these harder statistics tend to be lagging indicators. But a good chunk of middle school students, about 25% of them, they're bullied each year. 31% of 6th graders are bullied. Some of these numbers are slightly different, but between a quarter and a third of most students that we're talking about here report being bullied at school. And 64% of students who are bullied don't report it, which means there's a big gap here in how we address things and the comfortability of these students moving forward and talking about this to an adult they trust at school. And there's an alarming number of middle school students who are disengaged from school. And we're seeing more of this as a result of the pandemic. So building these skills for kindness, such as empathy, active listening, patience, self-control are essential right now, especially. And cyberbullying, of course, is a big problem as well. Most students spend a lot of their time on social media, and a lot of their social lives have moved to the online sphere of social media. So I'm willing to bet that statistic might be a little out of date with 24%. It's probably gone up more than anything else. And of course, we're probably seeing a lot of this, what we're hearing about a lot of this is suicide rates between, for young people, especially in that 10 to 14 age range. They're gone up significantly. And they stalled out a little bit over the last couple of years, but they're still way too high, of course. Go ahead. Yeah, thank you, Rosemary. Perfect. So the middle, this first started as called the Middle School Kindness Challenge. It was limited to middle schools, and there were certain kind of barriers in place. And they moved on from that and expanded from being middle school to elementary and middle school, and lowered some of the barriers and things you have to do to participate. So as the slide says, the Kindness Challenge is an opportunity for any schools, grades K through 8, to respond to meanness and hostility by making kindness a commonplace. And the real challenge, basically, it's meant to be developed by, be utilized by educators, mostly in the school setting. However, it's not limited to just the school setting. And we'll go into a little bit of how you can register and make use of it later on if you're outside the school setting. It's school friendly and instructionally sound. All these lessons, they're not just random suggestions. They are things from really well-respected institutes. There's a lot of studies that go around that, peer review that goes to these. So these are very, very well respected institutes that offer up these lessons that we'll get into here momentarily. It's fun and it's free of charge. It's free, which is a great way to start off the selling point for it. It's free. And of course it's fun and it makes really positive differences in the students that that participate. And as mentioned, it's research-based. Materials are contributed by leading content providers. So it's not just some random person on Facebook who's offering up their suggestions. They're very well tested and it's very trustworthy. Go ahead. Yeah, thank you very much. Well, here's one of those slides, which is probably a few things. Why kindness? Many don't know what kindness is. Move my screen out of the way here so I can read what's on the slide. But it's proven to improve school and classroom climate and student learning. As we know, if someone's feeling unsafe, if someone's feeling uncomfortable or scared at school, it's going to be really difficult for them to feel welcome and feel like they're in a position to take in new information and learn. It's important to be consistent in teaching kindness. And it's more than just being nice. It's a way to practice essential life skills. And that's one big thing I want to make sure we take away from this is kindness isn't just it's not a characteristic of someone's personality. It's a conscious choice. And it's a skill that can be developed and work and improved upon. And that's one of the main goals with Teach Kindness. And so it promotes things like active listening, expressing gratitude, self-regulation of big emotions, and of course, learning how to apologize. That's a big one. Right now, it seems like a lot of our nerves are on they're a little raw right now for adults, students, anyone. And so one big thing is really regulating our emotions and learning how to apologize. And we do that through empathy, by being able to empathize with the other person. And it's one of the core tenets of Teach Kindness as well. Thank you very much. So we have some of the research says on here. I don't want to go through each and every one, so I'll pick one in the middle here. As students learn best when they're in an environment in which they feel safe, supported, challenged, and accepted. And one of the key terms there is challenged, right? They're not bored. And it can be very challenging to learn some of these strategies to navigate conflict and big emotions. We want to make sure we're doing that in a way where we give them a very clear path forward. And this is something Teach Kindness does very, very well. And of course, accepted. Oh, that's perfect. You're doing good. Okay, kindness, and it works. Research and experience demonstrate that intentional kindness enhances students' sense of safety, support, and acceptance, which is something we all want to see. Educators and people who care about the youth and how we move forward with them. Fostering kindness can be a powerful solution to some schools' biggest challenge. In an era when meanness and even cruelty seem to be normal, there's an urgent need to make kindness a priority and a norm in our schools today. Go ahead and move forward from resume. Thank you so much. Let's see what teaching kindness can do for you. It can do a lot. It can immediately improve a school's climate. To create a more joyful and welcoming school for all students. Access is free, it's easy, it's fun, and there are effective lesson plans. And there's many to choose from, which we'll go over as well. Takes minimal time and aligns easily with instruction. Let's see, there it is. It helps address bullying and harassment through positive skill building. Leadership opportunities, especially for assistant principals, school counselors, and teacher leaders. It's a great way for you to take the helm of how you want to see your class and your school develop and what kind of culture you want to promote. And kindness is a culture I think that's desperate need right now. And there's plenty of people, plenty of organizations that are collaborating with Teach Kindness listed here on the screen. So you definitely would not be alone in picking up this program and taking the challenge to implement kindness. So now I'll go into a little bit about how it works. You go and move forward differently. Perfect. So 3 were pretty easy steps. Get kindness ready. First, you want to register yourself in your school. It's a pretty easy thing to get involved. You would go to weteachkindness.org. and you'll sign up, you register, and you have to be tied to a school in terms of registering for an account there. However, there's no one's really going in and checking and making sure. It's mostly just to understand that it's applying towards something bigger than just one individual person. So for my instance, I'm not tied to any one school. So I pick a school that I go into a lot, or I have a good relationship with their counselor, and kind of sign myself up there. So don't let that deter you if you're in the community and you want to sign up. Pick a school what you are tied to, your kids go to, whether you're familiar with, whether you're embedded there or not. So you want to register your school. You would review the kindness lessons. There's several categories to choose from, and it's broken down by category and age group as well. So it's pretty easy to navigate. And of course, one big thing is planning. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing in making this successful is planning out, plan logistics, when's a good time to implement these. And you'll see in some of these lessons, they have a time frame where they'll show you how long it's expected to take to complete. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Sometimes there's more intensive ones for an hour if you have a really strong group that you want to use that and have a lot of time. But planning is a really big thing. And of course, teach and foster the kindness itself. Choose a kindness lesson, pick which one sounds best or most apt for your students, and really think about where your students are. And the last thing we'd want to do is introduce a lesson that might be higher in intensity for a student body that's not ready for that. And so it's really best for the teacher who's familiar with their students, who are the homeroom teacher or have a very strong rapport with their students to help maybe choose which lessons to implement and start first. And of course, you would want to administer the lessons, and most of them take little to no materials or excessive planning. Usually just reading through the lesson plan itself, and most of them are 1 or even just 2 pages long. Usually that's enough to get you ready for it. And be sure to rate the kindness activity. When you get to the website, you'll have an opportunity to rate. There's a rating system, I think 1 through 4 or 5 stars, and to give feedback as well. Because if it works for you and you have some ideas, give those ideas out. Let other teachers and other administrators see what you're doing and give them rating to help them figure out what might be best fit for their classes and their students. And of course, reflection. It's a big part of this as well, is go through the lesson and reflect on it and see what worked, what didn't. And typically, if you're following the lesson plan to a T, maintaining that fidelity, you're doing a good job. And sometimes your students might just not be ready. So in a situation where you're maybe halfway into a lesson and you're feeling like, well, I'm not quite sure if my students are getting this or not, see it through to the end and just make a note of what you felt didn't go right or what could have done better. And then have a look at some of the other lessons and see how those other lessons might align to what might have gone wrong or you felt could be improved upon. And also make sure you look at the strengths, what worked really well, and share those, put those on blast, share that with anyone and everyone who really want to promote kindness and see that these things work, and that can be easy to implement. Getting kindness ready. Let's plow on forward here. So these are some questions here to kind of think about. Think about the role of kindness. What has been the role of kindness in your own educational experience? Right? Think of a teacher who you had when you were a student, or maybe a teacher who you worked with. Or think about an instance where you were kind, or you had a choice to be kind, or maybe you had a choice to be firm or just plow ahead and move on. And you made that choice to be kind to a student or someone else, and how it affected you. And how do you think kindness can make a difference in the lives of your students? And remember, we're talking about kindness as a skill, not necessarily a temperament or a personality trait, but a conscious choice to move forward and support your students, support the people in your lives and your community with things that promote their well-being as well as yours. And go ahead and move forward here. Kindness as the norm. Think about, how do you intend to role model kindness for students and staff? I'm sure I don't have to tell any of you that our students, all the kids, they look to adults as the role models. Whether you think they're going to model your behavior or not, someone's looking at you. So we really want to make sure that we're practicing and implementing kindness for ourselves. And that can be really hard. I've been to a fair amount of schools this school year already, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of challenges for us to face. And there's nothing wrong with making a mistake. There's nothing wrong with having a moment where you're not as kind as you would like to be. But the thing I would always encourage is addressing it. Transparency for transparency's sake is a fantastic thing. So if you catch yourself in a moment where you're not as kind as you would like to be, share that with your students if you're able to. Let them know, hey, I made a mistake. And kindness isn't something that we have to always 100% do and be on. No one's perfect. If you make a mistake, share that mistake and explain how you'd like to fix it. Model that to your students. And of course, make sure the implementation plan is as solid as you can possibly get it. When do you plan to teach the kindness lesson? What barriers might be in the way? It might be you have some students in your class who, in a trauma-informed basis, might have a really difficult time talking about feelings, talking about using verbiage like discussing your feelings. Might be difficult for them. So think about these kinds of things as you move forward, and maybe think of other ways that you can help those students be successful. And it's just kind of an example of how there might be some barriers. I'm sure they can probably think of 1,000 different barriers that might be in the way, but try to pick the top ones and figure out how you can work around those. And of course, circumventing those barriers, as I mentioned. Let's go ahead and move forward. Thank you so much. And we'll go ahead and move forward to the kindness activities themselves. So this is kind of what it looks like on the dashboard. When you sign up and you register your school, it gives you those categories you see on the going left to right there: spreading cyber kindness, strengthening peer relationships, developing positive mindsets, fostering student empathy. So it kind of gives you a starting place. And there's a bookmark option to bookmark all these. So if you see a lesson that speaks to you, definitely bookmark those and check them out. You can always remove them later if you don't think you like them enough, or they might not be relevant to you. But I definitely utilize that bookmark, because I can't tell you how many times I've looked at a lesson and thought, man, that's great, and I forget to bookmark it. And I thought, well, what was that lesson again? And I spend 20 minutes trying to find it again. They're flexible, adaptable, easy to use, and they give you everything you need to be successful with that. They're dynamic, they're personalized kindness dashboards, again, with the bookmarks and registering your schools and your grade setup. And as it says there, one-stop shop for high quality kindness building resources. There's so much to choose from, and you'll spend a great deal of time probably just going through them to begin with and saying, what works best for my students? What sounds best for my students? Let's go ahead and move forward here. And these are the 4 main categories there. I think it's expanded more than 33 activities now. It's ever growing. But these are the 4 main categories, and spreading cyber kindness is a really big one that I'm really excited to learn more about and to implement more. It's relatively new. It was new in about 2019, I think, but it's getting more traction now. Let's go ahead and move forward. And we'll talk a little bit about the science of kindness and where it comes from. So there's lots of quotes here. So schools where students feel safe, engaged, and connected to their teachers are also schools that have narrow achievement gaps between low-income children and their wealthier peers. So what is the power of kindness in this situation? These are things to think about as we're going through some of these quotes here. Now, what is the power of kindness in this situation? How is kindness more powerful than meanness, according to the research here? And go ahead and move forward here. And for 4 weeks, researchers assigned people with high levels of anxiety to do kind acts for other people at least 6 times a week. The acts of kindness included things like holding the door open for someone, doing chores for other people, buying lunch for a friend. And the researchers found that doing these nice things for people led to a significant increase in people's positive moods, and also led to an increase in relationship satisfaction and a decrease in social avoidance. That's so powerful right there. Just by simply doing 6 things a day, or in a week, kind things, I'm willing to bet we probably all do more things than that. But making that conscious choice to be kind, simple as opening a door for someone, and how powerful that is, and how easy it is to make a huge difference in their social lives, a student's and a child's social life, and their ability to interact with other students and their adults. Very powerful stuff. Let's go ahead and move forward here to the next one. Hundreds of students tried a 4-week experiment at school. They were placed randomly into 2 groups. One group performed 3 weekly acts of kindness, like sharing their lunch or giving their mom a hug if she seemed stressed out. I love that one. The other group visited 3 pleasant places each week, such as a park or a grandparent's house. At the end of the month, researchers found that students who performed the kind deeds were not only happier than before the study, they also gained friends. So practicing kindness boosts kids' popularity. When a kid sees that you are approachable and kind, and again, we're talking about kindness as a skill, not as a trait, either personality trait or something you feel like doing or a state of mind. It's a conscious choice to make. Kindness builds confidence. Kindness builds social acuity. Doing kind things and being able to give that kindness. You can't give something of yourself if you don't have the strength to give it. Some people, just a kind of little sidebar here, lots of times we might think, well, kindness is just a reaction to someone. Someone drops something, you immediately pick it up and give it to them. That's kindness right there. Kindness in most situations is a choice. And to be able to make that choice, you have to be able to be in a calm state of mind and have that strength to give that. That's what makes kindness contagious, is showing that you're strong enough to give that, make that choice for others. And so the kindness pledge. One thing that's really helpful is having some kind of pledge. And here's a great example one. I believe that an intentional focus on kindness has the power to transform the health and success of communities. I understand the urgency for reversing the rising tide of hostility in our schools. I pledge to use this as an opportunity to make kindness a permanent feature in our school. This is an example one, but having this as kind of a big picture roadmap really helps motivate you moving forward, especially in some sessions or lessons that might not go as great as you planned. It's really helpful to have that pledge in front of you as you continue moving forward with these. Let's go ahead and keep going here. And if we have time for a breakout, I know I don't want to step on anyone else's time, so I plan for two plans here. So first of all, I'm going to read through this. This is an example. This is an activity in itself, and this is one of the activities for students. It's called letting go of anger through compassion. So step one, and all the lessons are broken up like this, one step at a time, and it gives you quick little sidebars, information that might help you be more successful. Framing exercise for your students. You have a conflict, when we have a conflict with someone, a fight with a sibling, an argument with a peer in class, we sometimes feel angry towards that person. One way to let go of that anger is to calm ourselves down and think of positive thoughts about that person. This helps us feel compassion. And so you'd practice this by walking them through imagining someone who's mean to them. So and step number 2 here, allow students to find a quiet, comfortable place to sit. You may even consider yourself taking students outside. And this is one of those opportunities where you work with what you got, right? Not everyone has the same access to everyone else, but ideally you'd find some place where they can be calm and relaxed and not a lot of noise. And let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. Let's see here. Did I duplicate that? I think I duplicated the slide. Can you go back one more? I'm so sorry, Rosemary. Oh, what have I done? I had the next 2 parts of it. Well, real quick, the next 2 parts of that basically is asking the students to close their eyes and imagine someone who was mean to them, who hurt their feelings, and calm themselves down after they thought of that, because sometimes that might evoke some of those feelings, those memories of being hurt, and then ask them to do exactly as asked there. Think of something nice or positive about them. Think about why they might have been angry that day. What could have caused them to mistreat you? Because more often than not, something is going on in their lives and they're having a difficult time controlling themselves. And just like anyone else, we're all prone to mistreat others when we're feeling too frustrated or very upset. So this really helps them build that empathy and think of another way of, instead of saying that person was mean to me, I want them to stop. What should they do differently? It gives that power back to them that they're in control. Because once you start thinking of positive things about the person who hurt you and forgiving them for it, and as we know, forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for ourselves. That really helps build the resilience necessary to navigate through some of these conflicts that we see every single day at school, and helps build the strength that we can use to leverage kindness. Okay, let's go ahead and move forward here. So if we have time for a breakout, I would love for you to share your thoughts. If not, we don't have to do that, but we can all share thoughts as they come out. So if you can go ahead and pop over to the next slide, Rosemary, there's a prompt here.
Okay, we can have the breakout if you want to. We got time to have a 5-minute breakout.
We do? Oh, perfect. Okay, so let's move to the next slide real quick, and we'll give a little bit of a prompt about something in addition to the, this is the one we have to click a couple times to get through. Here we go. So yeah, so one more back, a couple more back there for me. I'm sorry, Rosemary. Your goal that you're so great. You're so patient with me. I appreciate it. One more, there it is. So first, as we break out, think about that exercise. Maybe model it yourself when you're in your small breakout group, or if you're having a hard time with that, you can share what are your hopes and goals for the challenge at your school for implementing kindness and in your classroom. So we can go ahead and pick one of those 2 things, and you can discuss as a breakout group, and we'll come back and we'll wrap things up, and if we and we'll move forward. All right.
Okay, there we go.
Excellent, thank you.
I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and I am going to have Kurt to continue on.
Very good. Well, hope you guys had some interesting conversations. And would anyone like to share anything that was pressing or mentioned in their groups? I think there's only two or three of them, I think, but yeah. If not, we can go ahead and move on. And definitely, I have time for questions for sure.
Okay.
All right, we can go ahead and move on then to kind of wrap up the presentation. If there's questions, I'll be more than happy to take them. Do we want to do that right now, Rosemary, or anyone? Or we kind of wait till we wrap up at the kind of 1 o'clock hour, however way we want to do it. The next slide was the end slide. So we're all good with it, the presentation there,
Okay.
at least on my end.
Okay. Kind of lost when I went to this breakout room, so I kind of, sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
Okay. All right. I am just going to have you go ahead and close out, Kurt. Let me get. Okay.
And so this is the information for the website, and also you can follow them. I believe that's on Twitter as well. And my contact information here, but I'll make sure this gets included at some point. But my name is Kurt Bennett. The best way to get in contact with me is going to be my office phone, and that number is 918-599-0513. I work at the Parent-Child Center of Tulsa, and I'll check in with Christy and y'all and see if we can get my email address added in there. I do apologize for not having that right there in the slideshow, but thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing all of this wonderful stuff with us today. I am going to go ahead and finish up so we can get to Q&As with Kurt. And these are just some of the resources that we have that I've got pulled up here. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm glad this is a presentation on being kind. So you all can be kind to me as I try to figure out what I've got going on here. So we got the later haters. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. And Later Haters is another resource, and this is just some information about later haters. And that's a good resource to have as we talk about being kind. And this information is all on the slides, and you will have access to all of this. And these are just the related, all of the information relating to that. And also we have the Red Ribbon and Substance Prevention Intervention resources, because this is the month for all of that. And so I want to make you aware of that, and we have information about that. So now I am going to back it up to questions and answers. So if anyone has some questions for Kurt at this time, this is the best time to go ahead and pose your questions. Okay, we have anyone with any questions?
And if not, no worries. I'm sorry, go ahead if someone has something, yeah.
No, I was just going to say if they could put it in chat if they wanted to, but you can go ahead on and speak, Kurt.
Sure, thank you so much. So Teach Kindness is just one of the things I facilitate. I mean, we have our Kids in the Block program and working to incorporate other bullying prevention and conflict resolution programs as well. And it's all meant to work together and complement each other. So it's not just about promoting kindness and as a skill, it's about also managing aggression, managing conflict resolution, and really dissecting bullying behaviors in a way that makes it very tangible, very specific, and not lumping everything into one big pile of everything that's bullying. And I'm seeing a lot of that recently. So if it's Teach Kindness, I'm more than happy to help facilitate anything and everything you need to help make that successful. Whether it's me coming in there with you and helping you through that or anything like that, more than happy to help. Or it's other programs that we use here at the Parent-Child Center. So I'll be more than happy to answer any questions, not just about Teach Kindness, but Kids in the Block or bullying prevention in general. If you do have anything, I'd love to hear from you. If it's not now, you can always reach out to me later on too. And I'll go ahead and drop my name in the chat box, my email in the chat box as well.
Thank you so much, Kurt, for that information. Wonderful presentation. That's something I know that we all can use, especially in our classrooms, but that's something that we can use in our lives every day. Just being kind and knowing different ways in which we can be kind and helping our students to navigate through that. Because we don't have to live in a mean world. We can actually live in a kind world. We just need some of the tools to help us do that. So we thank you so much for coming. And he is putting his information out there for anyone who would like to talk to him further about any of the programs that he's involved with.
It's
Okay.
been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay, and of course, there's the wellness library, and we're going to have our optimistic closure from Kendria.
Hello. Thank you so much again, Kurt, just like Ms. Rosemary said, for those additional tools to put into our toolbox to help our young people and on this road to kindness, which is a big road, but it's one that we are willing to lead. So today's optimistic closure, happy almost fall, y'all, in the name of Oklahoma and the way we talk. And so fall is a time for change. It's a time where schedules change, trees, leaves, weather, routines, just different things. So the question today is, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to be hot or cold? You can put time.
You're muted.
You didn't hear any of that? Oh my goodness, all that greatness. So what I was saying is, first, thank you, Kurt, for all those tools for our toolbox on the road to kindness. We are excited about helping our young people move towards that, and us as people as well. I agree with Ms. Rosemary. We live in a world where kindness is very, very important, and we are excited about leading the charge. Happy almost fall, y'all. In the world of Oklahoma, we're gonna say y'all. Fall is a time for change, schedules change, time change, trees, leaves, the weather, your exercise, your routines, different things. So the question for today is, what do you prefer? Hot or cold? For me, I'm gonna say I like for it to be a little bit of both. I'm a football mom, so I love football weather. We got in the middle warm, okay, same here in the middle. Cold for sure, almost cold, okay.
Cold for sure. Sick and
Cold
tired
for
of these
sure.
bugs.
Okay, fall weather for me, okay. Yura doesn't want any mosquitoes, so she said cold for sure. Okay. Oh, Christy wants to wear boots. It's boot season, almost. 80 to 90 to Xavier, you need to go to the beach. You got to get out of here. Okay. Well, like I said, happy fall, y'all. And I hope that you guys enjoy this good transition in weather that's coming up and some good old Dallas Cowboys football. That's from Miss Rosemary. Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Miss Rosemary.
Well, thank you all. Don't forget our wellness library for all of the things you want. Kurt has his information up, and as I said before, you can see this presentation again on YouTube. So thank you all for joining us today, and I am going to let you go. And Kendria, this was about kindness, so I know you're going to be kind to me because my football team did lose to her football team.